I'm Susan Tackett. I'm a member of the pressure cooker group on Facebook. And since Casey was going to make one on the Power pressure cooker, I thought I'd do one on the Instant Pot, just to show you the difference between the two. We're actually going to cook black beans today, which is a really basic thing. I usually tell people to do the water test first, followed by maybe carrots, and then black beans. So let's go ahead and get started. We're in Florida for the winter, and I'm out here in my Florida room. I've only got my 3-quart Instant Pot here. I have a 6-quart at home, and my 3-quart just takes a little bit longer to cook things because it has a lower PSI. So I wanted to go over some of the buttons just to familiarize yourself with this. I actually have, as far as pressure buttons, hopefully you can see this, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on to bean, but I can, there's a little red button that says it's on high for 15 minutes. I can actually toggle through these to less pressure, normal pressure, and high. And then I can also adjust the time either up or down, which is really nice. And all these buttons are really just preset times that if I put it on beans and I change it to 5 minutes, the next time I come to beans on high, it's going to be 5 minutes, but I can always adjust it, so that's always nice. The other thing I like about the Instant Pot is it has markings on the pot. So for grains, beans, and rice, you want to cover the beans so that they're covered, but that you're not filling it up more than 0.5% or half the inner pot, because they are going to expand. Everything else, the pressure cooker max is 2/3. So half full for grains, beans, and rice, 2/3 for everything else. So I've got my beans in here. I really like black beans. They have a little more flavor than pinto beans. I put my lid on. It's lined up right here, and I turn it and I really make sure it's locked. This is the steam release valve. You want to make sure it's turned all the way to the right. And sometimes if your Instant Pot won't pressurize, I always make sure maybe it's just like 1/8 of an inch off, or maybe this isn't all the way. Okay, so that's always something to check if you're not pressurizing and the little valve here pops up, which means it's at full pressure. The other thing I like about the Instant Pot is in the back of this it has a time chart. So under dried beans I have black beans, and they have different amounts, and you can kind of see I do my own scribbling to take notes, because my 3-quart takes about 1/3 more time than my 6-quart at home, and depending on how I'm going to use the beans, whether it's for chili or for bean burritos, I might want them where I can actually mash them. So at home in my 6-quart I use 7 minutes natural release for chili, and I use 10 minutes for soft, and down here I use 13 minutes for soft. So I'm going to press the bean button. That is high for 5 minutes. I'm going to adjust for 13. You can either keep the keep warm on or not on the Instant Pot. The default is keep it on, so if you didn't want to keep something warm, which it'll automatically keep warm for some period of time, you can go ahead and press and take the keep warm off. So my Instant Pot is on. It's going to pressurize. It'll probably take 5 or 6 minutes, and I'll be back when it's time to check on the steam. You will notice that the valve is down, and as soon as it pressurizes it will come up. And here we are about 30 minutes later. I wanted to show you this. You see that the pin has dropped down, so all the steam has released, which will allow you to open it. Otherwise this has to be down in order to open it. This also says sealing up here and venting. So what I'd like to do is talk about the 3 methods of steam release, or possibly even 4 because I have my own. We've got what we call quick release. It's hyphenated QR, and in all these you have to press the cancel button just as a safety precaution. And anyway, you quickly release it, so you would turn it to the venting position and steam would spray out of here. Safety precaution, you always want to flick it from the side like this. You don't want the steam going on you or your cabinets. The other method of steam release is natural release or natural pressure release. I shorten it NR, and that means you continue to cook like we just did, and you let the pressure release on its own. The other one is a 10-minute natural release, where you just kind of let it release on its own for 10 minutes, and then you do a quick release if there's anything left. The other thing I call is a trickle release. and I kind of made this up on my own. I would let it release a little bit on its own first, but if you're in a hurry, you just barely open it and you can just hear it sputter just a little bit. If you're in a hurry, it's a good method that I like to use. And I've now moved my pressure cooker inside. The other thing I want to point out was the cord. Make sure that you don't have it where a child or someone can pull the cord and pull the pressure cooker off. So anyway, here are my black beans. Like I said, I usually cook them a little less if I'm going to use them for chili, but if I'm going to mash them, I go ahead and cook them longer so that they're easily mashable. Since this is really more of an Instant Pot video than a black bean video, I want to give you a close-up of the buttons. They've got a rice and a porridge. I don't think I've used the steam button since I did my water test. Yogurt I use every week. We've got the cancel button, which you always use before you do the steam release. I like the keep warm, and the delay start is really handy. It's only in 1 hour increments though. And also we have a saute button. I use that a lot for frying up hamburger that I'm going to use in something else. Slow cook is nice too. Again, you've got the low, medium, and high heat settings for that. And also on the saute button you have low, medium, high. So that's really why I like my Instant Pot, because you can increase and decrease time very easy. You can choose what pressure you want and also which heat, depending if you're cooking under pressure or not. So I've got my potato masher out, and these are really soft. I hate to call them refried beans because I'm not really refrying them. All I really did, I put some onion powder, garlic powder in. Sometimes I put minced garlic or garlic cloves in when I actually cook, and it pretty much dissolves because it cooks under pressure so long. So anyway, I'll mash these. You can use an immersion blender. I've got one up north. I don't have one down here in Florida this winter. But I just mash it up. I add a little bit of liquid to make sure it's spreadable. And whatever I'm not going to use in the next couple of days, I put into Ziplocs based on how much we need for a meal, say 1.5 cups, and freeze it. And then I always have dinner ready or lunch. So this is my end result. I did have to add a little bit of water, and I probably will add a little bit more because it's not quite spreadable. But I just put this on a flour tortilla. I just put some cheese on it, some hot sauce. You can make rice in the pressure cooker. That's really great because it is a rice cooker. And you've got a really pretty healthy meal. And I've got my black beans mashed. I'd say you have about 11 servings out of 1 pound of beans. If I was up north with my 6 quart, I would probably go ahead and cook the entire 2 pounds and freeze just that many more. One thing I do want to point out is Barkeeper's Friend. I use this in my stainless steel pot. I won't need it today, but sometimes you do get some food that doesn't come off just with simple scrubbing, and it really works very, very well. So I hope you've enjoyed my video on the Instant Pot. Maybe you learned a thing or two that you didn't know, or maybe you're brand new to pressure cooking. And maybe you'll make some black beans for either chili or a cold salad or refried beans. I've been a member of the pressure cooker group for 2 years coming up in March. It took me about a month to kind of follow along and decide which brand of pressure cooker I wanted to buy. And I did start blogging last month because I've told so many people about the Instant Pot, I thought it'd be good to just have one central repository for them to get information. So if you would follow along on my website page, it is lifewithsusan.com. And I guess now that I've made my first video, I need a YouTube channel called Life with Susan. So hopefully it's available. So just follow along, and I